Okay, welcome everyone to the Korg MS2000 editor from Synthesis. This is the main Timbre view you've got here. Let's start along the top. So top right corner we've got a zoom function here, so you can select anything from 80 to 120%. You can still use the operating system zoom controls on the window if you like, but sometimes they don't work in the plugin version. So this is just a little extra function here that if you're working off a small laptop screen, you can scrunch things down a bit, or if you're working on a big 4K monitor, you've got an extra ability here just to blow everything up so you can see things correctly. And normally just leave that at 100%. This little window here, this just checks what's connected when you first connect to the hardware. So you can see here that it's detected I'm running a MS2000 rack version instead of the 2000 keyboard version, and the firmware is 1.07, which is the latest. If you don't see 1.07 there, you probably want to upgrade that as soon as possible. Here we've got quite an important one. This is the MIDI setup button, so we hit this one here. We configure our input and our output ports. We need separate dedicated ports in and out for the editors to work correctly. Another new feature here that I'll probably be adding to a lot of the synth ones is a external MIDI controller. So I've got an advanced 61 keyboard down here. If I just select that as well, click OK, we should be able to hear something now if I hit the keyboard. Yeah, and you can see that the MIDI receive light LED here lights up whenever you get any MIDI input on the controller or the input port. Just a little visual indication that something's happening, you've got things connected correctly. You might have your MIDI in and out swapped over or something like that. Another little thing I've added here, which I'll probably add to all of them as well, is a MIDI panic button. So if you get any stuck notes and it's threatening to blow up your speakers or do your hearing in, just hit the MIDI panic button here once like that, and it sends a bunch of MIDI note offs all across from 0 to 127 just to clear any of those stuck notes that you might have. Very useful. We've got the Librarian function next. So this is the memory bank on the MS2000. We've got banks A to H and patches 1 to 16 down here, and we've got your file browser window over here. We'll come back to that in a sec, I think. Voice and mods sequencer. Yeah, okay. So these are your sort of voice common settings across here. So these are common to Timbre 1 or Timbre 2 on the MS2000, the arpeggiators, your EQ section, delays, your mod effects, and you know what your voice mode is and stuff like that. Your micro tuning here, and your mod sequencer. So what can we show you? Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got a little on the mod sequencer. Oh yeah, we've got a little, so I moved something there. See, data load area, yeah. Okay, so you just need to, I just need to hit the edit button on the MS2000. It's it doesn't accept edits unless the you're in edit mode, so you have to hit the edit button on the front panel. I've done that now, and you see current prog received from MS2000. Probably worth mentioning now as well that this area down here is like a message bar area to let you know what's going on. So you sort of keep an eye on that. It's quite useful sometimes. So if we want to, so what we've got here is just say, okay, so sequencer 1 is going to do the pitch, and it's going to be smooth rather than stepped between the 16 steps. You don't have to have 16 steps. You can have 10, and that shortens everything like that. And 16 there, and then you can go forward, reverse, whatever it does, loop, resolution, etc. If we put in some pitch information here, you'll see I've got a nice little. Oh, pitch is the wrong one to choose actually, because you only go from to 24 semitones, so it doesn't look quite as good. Let's choose something else. I don't know, oscillator 1 control, for instance. Right, there we go. You've got a bit more fine control over that particular mod. So if we, there you go, if we set up a 16-step sequence for that, you'll see that you've got a nice visual indication here of what on earth it's doing on sequence number 1. Again, quite nice. There you go, there the EQ works. There we go. You want to play around with the EQ settings, that all works as well. And we get the Timbre section, which is the main section. I should probably mention what we'll do. We've got a single mode here. So if we go for a dual, yeah, then you get Timbre 1 mod sequencer, and now Timbre 2 mod sequencer appears, because the dual mode is two timbres playing together on top of one another. If we go to the Timbre 1 section now, so this is all the Timbre 1 settings, but we can switch here between 1 and 2 like this. Just click on that. We switch between the two, and we've got all the usual things. If you choose different oscillators, there you go, you can have all just different oscillators, saw, whatever. And this control one, this changes the wave shape of the saw, and that is quite accurate actually. It's not obviously measuring it in real time, but I put an oscilloscope on the MS2000 as you do, and just to see what the wave shaping was doing, and then I tried to copy it in the component drawing there. So actually what you see happening there is what you would see on an oscilloscope, and actually what it does to the wave shape. So that's again, I just couldn't help myself basically. And we've got pulse here and semitones, and it's all in here. It's all in there. Obviously the pulse shape changes like that. We've got EG1, which is the filter one, and obviously that is all redrawn. As you change everything, you can go positive and negative intensity, so that flips the chart like that, just to show you what's happening, whether you're going negative or positive with it. This is the main filter section over here. Obviously we've got bandpass. Again, it all gets redrawn. We've got low pass, 12 dB, etc, etc, etc. High pass filter like that. There we go, and the resonance obviously does that. EG2, which is the amplifier one. Amplifier over here, mixer, I'll speed up now I think. Patches, it's just your 4 standard sort of modulation patching, modulation matrix, like a 4-patch modulation matrix that you have with the MS2000. Again here, yeah, it shows you the source, so LFO1 goes to the cutoff, and it will change it in a positive direction or a negative direction here from the intensity. What else we got down here? LFOs, again, these are all redrawn like this. This is free running. If you put the tempo sync on, that disappears, and you end up with a sync note here that you want to pick. Again, that's all redrawn for you to show you what's going on. That's a basic Timbre one. Obviously, Timbre 2 is exactly the same as Timbre 1, except you flip like that. What else can I explain? I'll tell you what I'll explain now. You see here, you've got the little CCs numbers by some of the controls. These are the assignable MIDI continuous controller or MIDI CC numbers. So if you go into the global section, which we haven't been in yet, these are all the global settings. You'll see under the control change settings, these are the MIDI CC numbers that are linked to those particular parameters. So you'll see portamento here is 0.5. So if we pick one, I don't know, EG1 intensity is CC16. So if we look at Timbre, you'll see there the EG1 intensity. Sorry, I'm speaking too fast. Is CC16. If we change that, so if we just say, okay, let's make it, I don't know, 18, you get a message first of all to say that changes have been made in the editor only. Yeah. So the MS2000 doesn't allow you to change global settings individually, but you've made that change now there. If you send the global data here, send data to MS2000, send the global data like that. Global data transferred to MS2000, data load completed. That has now changed that setting. And that's the way you do it. If we go back to Timbre, you'll see that is now saying 18. And you can do it from here as well. If you say make that 20, yeah, again you get the same warning that you have to send that manually here. And if we go back to the global settings, you'll see again that's changed to 20. Let's put it back to, was it 15 or 16? 16, I think. I'll put it back to 16. There. Okay, so that's kind of explained that. I've also kind of explained the global things. So this is very useful when you're trying to automate parameters in the DAW setting, for instance, or maybe from an external controller on some assignable knobs or something like that, you can see instantly which MIDI CC is assigned to which particular parameter. So again, it's just nice. You can see things straight away, and what's assigned to what and what will control what. So you think, oh, I want to change the filter cutoff. You go, okay, it's CC74, and that's quite standard, but it could be something non-standard. So you can go straight to your MIDI controller, change it to 74 and go, there you go. Or go into the global settings and change it here. Okay, so I think we've explained all that. What I'll do now is I'll just explain this down here in the librarian functions. Sorry, there's quite a lot to explain. So we've got various sections down here. So and they're all in their separate areas. So first of all, we've got request data from MS2000. So this is probably something you want to do straight away. You can request up to 4. You can request the current prog, which is just like the one program, the one patch that is currently loaded in the MS2000. You can request the global data, which is all that stuff individually. You can request the program data. The program data is all of the programs at once. Or you can request all the data, which is everything. So why don't we just press the request all data? There we go, like that. Now that's going to sit processing. Now if you could see the screen of the MS2000, you'd see it saying processing. And that'll just take, we'll just twiddle our thumbs for a few seconds while it gets, there we go, all data received from MS2000. Okay, so now this is the current program, which was synced to the editor anyway, so that's fine. But what you'll find now is we go in the librarian. Okay, so instead of having a blank slots, you've now got all your patches displayed here, banks F, banks G, banks H's, and 1 to 16. So that's useful for seeing everything at once for a start, which you can't normally do. You can basically do two things from here. So if we left click once on reverse, it says load the patch. Are you sure you want to load bank 4 into the MS2? I go, yes, I do. Data load completed, reverse, and now we've got a completely different patch loaded into the current program. So that's one thing you can do. So it's a very easy way of selecting patches now, rather than faffing around on the front panel. And although that's not too hard on the MS2000, but this is also useful from loading from disk. So if you load the program data from the disk, you can effectively preview patches in somebody else's program bank without actually writing anything to the MS2000. So it's also useful for that. Another function I've done is for organizational purposes. So let's just say we want to reorder these two. If I left click on this, hold the left button down, drag it to the next one like that, and then let go, it says move patch. Are you sure you want to swap bank G11 with G12? I go, yes, I do. And then those two swap places in the program bank. Now that hasn't done it on the hardware, it's just done it in the editor here. So if you wanted to commit that to the hardware, you'd then move on to this section here, send data to MS2000. You say, I want to send the program data. So if I hit that button now, it would send this revised program data into the memory and write. And if I did that, you'll get a warning, obviously. Yeah, it goes, right, are you sure you want to? Because you're going to overwrite all the MS2000 memories. And you've got to say, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. So cancel. Right, but you can do it that way. Okay, what have we got? Save data to librarian. Yeah, okay, so let's say let's say you've got this one, you've edited it, you go, yeah, I like the sound of that, it sounds a bit better if I do that. You can go into librarian and say, okay, I'm going to save that, and then you select which A and which bank and which patch you want to put it into. I'll just cancel that again, and that will save that into this editor area here. Again, for reorganizing. Once you've got this organized, you can either save it to the disk or save it to the MS2000 or both. Okay, utilities, initialize and copy. Okay, initialize is fairly, you can initialize the whole patch, you can initialize Timbre 1, Timbre 2, the vocoder voice, the mod sequencer. So we did have the mod sequencer. Let's go. No, okay, so let's just say we've done something with the mod sequencer 1, sequence 1. We don't like it, we think it sounds rubbish, you can just say, okay, let's initialize Timbre 1 mod sequences, bang, and they all go to 0. Oh, like that. Okay, copy, let's see. Copy. Right, and then you can copy Timbre 1 to 2, Timbre 2 to 1, the 1 mod sequencer to Timbre 2 mod sequencer, or Timbre 2 to Timbre 1. And various things you can copy from one place to another, quite useful. And now we've got the disk settings here under the file browser. So save the current prog to disk. You can do that. Yeah, that's because I clicked cancel. Don't worry about that. You can save the global data if you want separately. Save the program data separately, which is, again, program data is all of them. Banks 8H and 1 to 16. Or you can save all the data as one big thing like that and recall it later. Or we can load something. If you want to load something here. I haven't got anything on here, but tell you what, let's save that. Let's save the program. We'll save the program data to the disk. Program data, that will do. Yeah, we'll just put that in there. Yeah, that's about permissions, never mind. We'll save it into there, save it. Now we go to the file browser. There we go, there's the one we just saved, program data. If we double click that, program data loaded from disk. And that loads the program data into the editor here like that. And if you want to load that into MS2000, then you have to do a separate step, which is to send it here, send the program data here. Again, extra steps. I just don't want people to accidentally overwrite what's in their hardware when they're not quite sure how to work the thing. Okay, and root folder button on the file browser. Do that. It just goes back to the root folder in case you've gone down a blind alley. Just a way of getting back to the start again. Like that. And that is basically the standalone version. That was one on PC, but it works on Mac fine as well. And now I'll move on to the DAW and the plugin versions. Right, here we are inside the DAW. So I've already scanned for the new plugins. So it's listed as a soft synth in Cakewalk, by the way. This is Cakewalk on PC, but it's also tested in Ableton Live on Mac. No issues, works much the same way. Okay, let's pick the MS2000 one. Yep, let's insert that. Twiddle our thumbs. Okay, we're up. Again, MIDI setup is probably the first thing we want to do. Again, we need dedicated ports, so let's pick that one. And pick that one, and controller. Because we're in the DAW, I don't really need a MIDI controller because we can route things to it through the DAW. So you can leave that as none, or you can select something. It doesn't really make much difference, personal preference. You'll need this on this setting here. I didn't mention before on the standalone version, but if you want to play notes from a MIDI track and then switch their output to the editor, and you want them to go through the editor to the hardware, then you need that on. So I'll leave that on. There we go. We got the ports opened. Okay, you get green one. If you get the red bar there saying couldn't open the port, it's probably because the DAW has grabbed it. So, for instance, in Cakewalk, if we go MIDI devices, what you'll need to do is you make sure that DIN one I was using there, that's the one I'm using in the input and output section, is unticked. It's the same in Ableton Live. You untick it. It must be the same in Cubase and Logic and all the other ones. You just need to make sure the DAW has not grabbed it for use. And then it should be fine. Okay, so let's get that up again. So why are we in the DAW then? Well, basically the main reason you'd be using the plugin version is because you want to automate something. So again, you do that in various ways on different DAWs. But here we go on Cakewalk. You select this. We go down to MS2000 editors and we say choose parameter. Right, and then we get a list of all the automatable. I said that right, didn't I? Automatable parameters, yes, that you can have on the MS2000. And they're basically all those, remember all those control changes, all those CCs, on the control changes. So if we choose the cutoff one, just for argument's sake, as it's a nice easy one, we've got an automating. There we go, and we can draw an automation for that cutoff CC. And what happened there is the DAW will send those CCs changes through the editor to the hardware, and again, so cutoff is 74. So that is basically CC 74 that is going in. And if we play something, let's see if this keyboard's set up. No, keyboard's not set up. Okay, if we send the output of, guess it's all to do with DAW routing. It'll be different in your DAW. If we say I want my advanced keyboard to be the input and the output I want to be the MS2000 editor, I have to click that. There we go. Now we're routing the MIDI notes in from the keyboard through the editor to the hardware. So now if we just play that, we should find, there you go. You can hear that the filter cutoff is being automated as it goes along. And that's basically how it works. And that's basically the DAW setup. Like I say, tested in Ableton Live on Mac as well. Works fine. Shouldn't be any compatibility issues with M1 or M2 Max either. Heard nothing back. I don't have an M1 to test on, but I've heard nothing back of any problems with it. So all good. Thanks for watching.